It is now in order to consider Amendment Number 3, printed in Part C of House Report 11651. For what purpose does the gentleman from the Northern Mariana Islands seek recognition?
Madam Chair, I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 3, printed in Part C of House Report number 116-51, offered by Mr. Sablan of Northern Mariana Islands.
Pursuant to House Resolution 357, the gentleman from the Northern Mariana Islands, Mr. Sablan, and a member opposed each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from the Northern Mariana Islands for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I yield myself as much time as I may consume.
The gentleman's recognized.
Madam Chair, in Congress, we depend on the expertise of federal agencies to tell us how much funding is needed by communities recovering from disaster. That was the case when the House passed H.R. 268 on January 16th. We set aside $10.4 million in that bill for water and sewer recovery for areas impacted by Super Typhoon Yutu. And we relied on the Environmental Protection Agency to verify that amount. But as happens in recovery situations, preliminary estimates were not completely accurate. When debris is removed, unseen damage is revealed. So in March, after the House passed H.R. 268, EPA revised its estimate of the cost for repairing sewer systems in the Marianas. But H.R. 2157, the bill now under consideration, has not taken the new March estimate from EPA into account. So H.R. 257 simply repeats what was in H.R. 268, the January bill. The amendment I'm offering instead relies on EPA's new updated assessment of the true need, and I ask unanimous consent that EPA's estimate be added to the record.
The gentleman's request will be under general leave.
Thank you. EPA reports that funds will be needed to upgrade the Aguingang and Saduk-Tosi wastewater treatment plants, quote, as a result of damage inflicted by Typhoon Yutu, end quote, and for lift stations and backup generators that were, again, quote, damaged by flooding and high winds, end quote. EPA says these projects cost $14 million. So my amendment takes into account the funding already in the base bill, however, and asks only for an increase of $8 million. Again, this requested increase is based on EPA's estimate, only available after passage of H.R. 268, the bill on which H.R. 2157 is based. I ask my colleagues for their support of my amendment, and I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves. Any member seek time in opposition?
Madam Speaker, I rise to claim time in opposition, although I am not opposed to the amendment.
The gentlewoman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Madam Speaker, I rise in support of Vice Chairman Sablan's amendment to provide much-needed emergency funding to repair the wastewater treatment plants devastated by Typhoon Yutu. I would like to thank the Vice Chairman for his leadership on disaster assistance and for securing a Medicaid hearing for the U.S. territories. The upcoming hearing will provide an opportunity for territory Medicaid issues to be brought to the forefront of Congress so that we can solve our access and funding issues, ensuring future equity and accountability for our Medicaid programs. Thank you, and I yield back.
Gentlewoman yields.
Madam Chair, I have no further speakers, and so I ask for support of Sablan Amendment number 3 and the underlying bill, H.R. 2157. I thank my colleague and friend from American Samoa for her support of the bill, and I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from the Northern Mariana Islands. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to. Pursuant to Clause 6 of Rule 18, further proceedings on the amendment offered by the gentleman from the Northern Mariana Islands will be postponed.